Hey everyone, and welcome to Conscious Ground, where today we are talking about 5 things that you can do in 2026 to hopefully just help have a better year, but also be a little bit more connected to yourself and others, and to also just make a positive impact on the world. I'm Maddie Stevenson. I'm the founder of Conscious Ground, and our mission is to help the world be a little bit more connected by helping people be connected to themselves and others in times of division, and also to help define and demand what positive and conscious leadership looks like in a world of toxic leadership, I would say, and also to help people remember that we can, in fact, work together towards the things that we all want in life. And if you are liking that message, please give us a like, give us a follow so we can amplify our work. And of course, take a look at the description for more info on how you can connect with us, perhaps take one of our courses, or just take a look at our other offerings around all of these topics. But let's start it off here with this. We are at an inflection point. I don't know if you can feel it. I certainly do. I talk to a lot of people. And yes, political division is on the rise. It's more intense than ever. Loneliness is an increasing epidemic. Anxiety are at all-time highs. We keep scrolling on our phones. We are consuming. We are reacting to things. While none of this is helping things to get better. Of course, AI is reshaping everything. It's reshaping how we work, how we think, how we feel, and so much more. And of course, people see the disconnection we have all across our lives, but we're wondering, well, yeah, continually, what can we do about this? How are we going to turn this around? And so these here today are 5 things that I think that we can do to help turn this tide. There are, of course, many more things. This is a big topic, but I think these are 5 things that can help you have a little bit more ease in your day throughout your year, but also to just be a little bit more, again, connected to yourself, to help others do the same. And this, of course, in my opinion, makes a positive impact on the world because this energy and this message spreads. So let's get it started. So number 5 of things that you can do in 2026 to help live a little better, but also create a more connected world. One is, number 5 here is get connected with yourself. And yeah, this might be a broad topic, but in my opinion, you cannot show up authentically in the world if you do not know a little bit more about yourself, what you love, what your passions are, what you don't like, what you really believe in. And so self-connection, in my opinion, is a foundation of so much more and so much of the other topics I'll be talking about in this video. We talk, we live, excuse me, quite a lot on autopilot. And I know I do quite often, even though I'm working on these things. We are consuming things. We are reacting to things and responding to things not from our authentic selves. And this is because in so many places in our lives, whether that's in the media, social media, leaders in our lives, are telling us what to think. They're telling us what to think. They're telling us what to feel, and they're telling us what to believe. And so the way I see this is so many of us continually do not have a say in shaping who we are. We are not the ones shaping who we are in these worlds. Our beliefs, our thoughts, our emotions are being shaped from outside forces. So the point here is that we can have more control in these things. And here are just a few of the ways that you can do that. One, and if you follow me a little bit, you know I talk about this a bit, is taking time to completely disconnect from the devices and just being with yourself. You don't have to be an expert meditator to do this. Meditation is great. I'm a big proponent of it. But just taking 10 or 15 minutes, setting a timer, and committing to just being with yourself. You can lay down, but the point is disconnect from your devices. Don't play a podcast. Don't play even music. Just be with yourself. And this, in my opinion, can be the foundation for so much. I do this when I can find the time. And it's in these moments that we can start to get reconnected to ourselves. We can start to feel our bodies. We can start to just have our thoughts flow. And that's okay. Give your mind space to rest. And this breaks the cycle of consuming. This breaks the cycle of having to just kind of be producing things all of the time, but and it just gets us into being. And from this, I think so much can sprout. And this can be, again, the foundation of so many other things. This can be the foundation of another thing that you can set an intention for and to practice, which is just feeling sensations in your body. The topic of emotional intelligence is quite broad. And in my opinion, in working on these things and practicing these things myself, trying to understand my own emotions can be stressful. And I, even in doing the work, have trouble with it, have trouble saying, identifying what's going on with me when I'm feeling something. What is that emotion? So that can be stressful. And a way to build that strength to get better at that is to start more simply and start with sensations in the body. We can all feel our body and say, hey, if this is a tightening feeling, I'm feeling a tightness in my gut. I'm feeling a tingling in my heart or my throat. These are ways that, again, you can start more simply. And it can be, in addition to setting time aside for yourself in disconnecting from your devices and so much that we're consuming, it can be a doorway to further emotions and further emotional understanding, to getting to the point of, oh, that sensation there, that's anger. That sensation I'm feeling there is fear. And again, it starts with the sensations. One last thing here that I would say maybe can be a little more complex and difficult is trying to get a little bit more clear on what you believe in particular situations, trying to explore curiosity. Because again, we are told what to believe in so many situations. We are told, well, in this situation, this is what's happening, and this is what is right. And so much more often these days, again, we are being influenced on what to think and what to feel. And so a really powerful, I would say, act of resistance is being curious, but also just trying to take stock of any situation and try to really get clear on, well, what exactly do I believe here? What is my own truth? What is my own opinion on a matter? And all of this, taking just alone time, being with yourself without devices, trying to get an idea of your sensations that are coming up in your body, and also just getting close to your own beliefs. These can all be simple yet radical ways to connect with yourself. And again, getting closer to things that you really love, your passions, what inspires you. These are all things that we are being disconnected from, that we can get reconnected to. And when we get reconnected to those things, these are just ways where we can connect with other people and share in those things, share in creativity, share in inspiration. And this all can be a lifetime of work. But again, these can be small steps for you to get started. Let's move on to number 4, around 5 things you can do in 2026 to be just to have a little bit more ease and also to be more connected. Number 4 is getting reacquainted with reading, and specifically reading books. I talk about acts of resistance a lot, and we're often taught to kind of resist people, but I think there are ways we can resist systems. And so when I say resisting, yeah, when we read books specifically, this is resistance against disconnection. It is resistance against the attention economy. And it's a way we can reclaim our cognitive abilities, our abilities for deep thought. Again, getting connected to things that I just mentioned, like creativity, inspiration, things that really matter to us. I just talked about getting connected with yourself. Reading and reading books is a fantastic way to do this because, as I said, we are in an environment of infinite scrolling. We are constantly consuming little tinier and tinier bits of information all of the time. Being able to select a book, being able to be intentional about what we read can help us slow down. It can help us think. And this is an act of choice, right? I mentioned that we're not able these days very much to be able to choose what we think and believe. This is a fantastic way to do that. Reading can reconnect with your curiosity and not what an algorithm or another leader in the world or another person thinks you should care about. And so this is is something that can help us in so many places, especially in connecting with ourselves. And it doesn't have to be about productivity. It can be a way to have fun and a way to experience inspiration through stories. It is giving your mind the space to be inspired. So these first two kind of go hand in hand. And when it comes to reading, you can pick what you like, and that's kind of the point. Um, Being able to choose something. Okay, I'm going to read this, and what am I going to? I'm going to make sure to have an intention to try to be in touch with what I'm feeling while I'm reading that. Do I like this? This can all get us closer to the things we love, our passions, which I mentioned, the things that we are inspired by, and the things that spark ideas and creativity. Reading and books are a fantastic way to do this. And when we are not choosing what we're doing, or intentionally connecting with what we're doing, we are losing this connection to ourselves. And I just want to wrap this one up with, in the age of AI, where we're offloading so much of our thinking and our feeling to AI systems, this is another way to break free, because we are practicing. We're using our physical body, our eyes, to be taking in for information. We are able to explore more critical thinking because we have more space. It's our intentional time, and we are able to get closer to our feeling. You know what? I don't like this. I'm not liking what I'm reading. I'm going to go to something else. Or, wow, what a fascinating idea. This is really interesting to me. And this is sparking some more ideas. And oh, you know what? I want to go talk to somebody about this. I want to go talk to people about this idea and work it out further. So that is number 4, getting more acquainted with reading, and specifically with reading books. Let's move on to number 3 for things you can do in 2026 to feel a little bit more ease in your life, and feel a little bit more connected to people. And if you follow me much at all, I talk about this quite a lot, because to me, it is a radical and powerful way to be in the world. And number 3 is to notice and try to eliminate blame in your life. And this concept absolutely changed my world when I first encountered it through reading up on and getting close with the framework of conscious leadership, which is the way that the leadership that I most connect with and practice. But to notice and eliminate blame in your life. And I think when you start to understand exactly what blame is, what it does, and what its impacts are, you will likely start to see it everywhere. And in my opinion, blame is a tool of manipulation. It is a tool for avoiding responsibility and accountability. And the thing is, in every situation that we are a part of, we have some responsibility in it. And so what blame does is it takes 100% of any responsibility in a situation, and it places it somewhere else. It places it in a group or another person, or we can place it all in ourselves. But the point is, we take 100% of that responsibility and place it elsewhere. When in fact, in every single situation which we are a part of, whether we're on the outside, whether we're commenting on something, we have some responsibility in in those situations. And so you'll see blame everywhere. You'll see blame happen, of course, in our political discourse, where we're told to blame an entire group of people for a particular problem. It happens in war a lot. Look at this country and these people in these countries that are all to blame for so much of our problems. We see it in business a lot. Well, where a leader might say, "Well, we didn't quite make things. We didn't quite make our goals this year." And you know why we didn't? It's because of this one thing, or this one person, or this one group. You will start to see this everywhere. And when in fact, as I said, in all of those situations, typically the one pointing the finger has a responsibility. I would say always has some kind of responsibility. And let me go into just one example that I give in this situation all the time. We in the U.S., of course, have a lot of problems with homelessness, with people increasingly not being able to afford a place to live. And this is where you can start to see where blame is so deep in our culture, where we are taught to point the finger at the homeless person and blame them for it is all their fault for them being homeless. And this takes all the responsibility off us and puts it all on the person. And yes, it is very rarely 100% that person's fault for for the predicament that they are in. There are so many other things involved in a person possibly becoming homeless, and so we can name a lot of things. We can name the healthcare system in the U.S. One medical bill can be the difference between, well, do I want to choose to live, or do I want to or do I want to die, and potentially having to make the choice between paying for care or living on the streets. And a medical bill can devastate an entire family. And so we are, though, taught that, well, anybody, no matter who it is, we can point the finger and say, yeah, actually, it's their fault. They should have worked harder. They should have, well, if they had one job, they should have had two jobs. And when that is not the case. If you will investigate any matter, there are a number of things that go into a situation. It is not often black and white thinking. So I often use that example to give the point that yes, once you start to see blame everywhere, to see more blame, you will see it more and more and more. And the thing you can do is to know that in any situation, we can take responsibility. And in taking responsibility, we can have agency in things. We can say, well, actually, you know what? In the situation that I just gave, a homelessness situation, my responsibility would be to, rather than blame the homeless person, would be to understand the implications of homelessness and the impacts and the all of the things that go into what might happen here. Our political system and of extraction, of healthcare, of corporations being able to take advantage of the most vulnerable people, right? So my responsibility, rather than placing blame, would be to understand the entire system and say, well, I'm not going to blame that person. I can see a bigger picture here, and it's not just that. So to wrap this one up, blame, it creates division, and responsibility creates a possibility for connection and solidarity and change. And this can be just a massive and radical change in your life. This can change your relationships. This can change how you are at work. And in general, you being a person who takes responsibility over placing blame will inspire others around you. This will help you, I think, live a better life. And I think this will help you be seen as a leader. And this is not always easy to do, but this can be just again, a massive and positive impact on your life and on the lives of the people around you that see you living this way. All right, so let's move on to number 2 for things you can do in 2026 to live a little bit better and connect with other people. This is a big one. This is one that we talk about so much here at Conscious Ground, and this is another one where the more once you start to unravel it, the more and more you will see it. And I talk to people quite often. I talk to people around loneliness. I talk to people around social situations and relationships. But number 2 here is to become more aware of manufactured disconnection. This, again, this is a big one. This is part of our work here we do at Conscious Ground. And people often talk to me and say, wow, I mean, how do I get out of this loneliness? This is my fault. I should be doing better. I should be doing more to connect with other people. Or I also hear, well, I'm trying really hard to make relationships and build friends, but it's their fault. They're not reacting right. And it's actually a situation of blame, which I just talked about, where, well, it's either my fault or somebody else's fault. And the point around manufactured disconnection that I highlight all of the time is all of this disconnection and division that we are feeling is by design. It is not your fault. It is not the other people's fault. It is a system that is designed to continually and increasingly keep us disconnected, keep us isolated from each other, so that we can be more manipulated and more controlled, and also to not work together towards positive change. And so, one example I give is, you could be out and about, and you might be talking to somebody and they say something that you have a deep disagreement with, or you might hear that they voted for the political party that you are against, and you feel something in your body. You feel this, and then the situation changes like that, and you immediately have a feeling about the person. You immediately assume so much about the person. That happens in part by systems that were designed over decades to make you feel this way. We used to be better able to speak to each other when we disagreed. But through all of these mechanisms of disconnection from people telling us that, when somebody disagrees with us, we should hate them. We should have them be, they should be our enemy. When we have algorithms that are continually fueling these emotions, when we continually get placed and find ourselves in bubbles and thinking the same group think, and that anybody outside of that bubble is the enemy, that is all designed. It is designed to keep us disconnected, and it is also designed so we can be profited from. And so it is not your fault that you feel lonely. It is not the other person's fault that we cannot connect. It's not their fault that that this division is happening. It's not their fault because of what they believe. It is largely in part because this is a system designed to do this. And so the big thing here in this one, in number two, that you can do is to, one, notice and to realize that a person doesn't have to be your enemy just because they have different ideas. Um, these systems want us to fight over culture wars and issues like that, rather than realizing that underneath all of those culture war issues, we often, and I would say in the majority of times, we want the same things. We all want to live a comfortable life. We want to see our families thrive. We want to see our loved ones succeed. We want to live with ease. But what gets put on top of all of that is these culture war issues that keep us fighting, that keep us disconnected, keep us further isolated, so that we can just further be have so much extracted from us, resources, money, productivity, that we will keep buying things, keep scrolling, keep consuming. And so the antidote to manufactured disconnection is, one, just realizing that it exists and approaching almost every situation with that understanding. But it's also that underneath it all, we do want similar things. And yeah, when you start to see this more clearly, you can approach things so much more differently. And I'm not saying that this is easy. This is actually hard work, right? Because it is very triggering to try to talk to somebody who has very differing beliefs than you, or believes, in my opinion, in my difficulty, that that certain people's humanity does not matter. Like, those situations are very tough. So I'm not saying this is easy, but this can be done. We can unlearn this because these systems were designed. These systems were designed, and any system that was designed by a person can be changed. And so that is what I firmly believe. And this is the awareness that kind of helps us start to change things. It helps us start to actually have some more moments where actually that person who I disagreed with, actually, we do have something in common. And it's from those little moments of connection, that so much more can happen. And rather than doing the opposite, which is what we're doing right now, we're engaging with each other in so many hostile ways, yelling, just getting into conflicts, arguments. And is that really doing much for us? Is that doing anything for us? I don't see people changing their minds too often after getting screamed at. Yeah, it might happen in some cases, but I got a pretty strong feeling that the majority of people who are yelled and screamed at are not going to all of a sudden flip and change their mind and go, oh yeah, you were right. I actually I'm on your side now. So noticing manufactured disconnection and approaching and as many situations as you can in your life, knowing that likely that person, your neighbor, your person in your community, that person in your work, that person who lives in some other place in the country, your family member, your neighbor, your uncle, any of these people are not your enemy, but we've been trained to see them that way. And so this can, again, just help us in so many ways, and help set the foundation for our next one, which is our number one thing that you can do, I think, in 2026 to help live a little better and to be more connected, which is, I think, which we need so much more of now, is commit to deepening your connections with others. And so all of the things I've talked about today tie into each other. But this one, if you can do one thing this year to try to help improve things in your own life, and which can create ripples out, would be to commit to trying to deepen a connection with at least one person. Um, this is around the concept of social health, the idea that our relationships and the depth of our relationships really impact our overall health, that it is almost just as important, if not more, than our physical and emotional health. All of these things are very tied together, and our social health, the data is showing that it is equally important as taking care of our bodies and taking care of our emotions. So in my opinion here, this is not just like a nice thing to have. This is critical. This is something that if we're going to turn around the loneliness epidemic, if we're going to turn around division, we need to start here. And maybe the first four things I mentioned are a foundation for this, but this requires everything we've talked about. It requires knowing yourself a little bit more. It requires taking some responsibility over blame. It is recognizing the systems that divide us and doing something differently. And one of the very simple ways you can do this is commit to one person in your life that you want to have a deeper relationship with with. And you can reach out to them. You can ask if they'd be willing to do this too. And not everybody might be willing to do this, but you can commit to maybe talking at a regular interval. You can commit to maybe texting more. You can commit to being more real with each other, being more authentic. You can, in addition to trying to form a deeper connection with just one person, you can make a list of maybe up to 5 people in your life and commit to deepening your connection with them throughout the year. And this is something where you can just reach out to people more. You can ask for them to join you in this journey on being a little more connected. If that's not something that calls to you, you can join a community. You can join or create a community, which is increasingly easier these days, where you can actually practice your connection with other people, whether that's remote or in real life. There's a lot of platforms out there. One that I use quite often is meetup.com. I have not only joined, but I have created several really powerful groups through this platform. And this is where you can find a group that meets online. You can find a group that meets in person. And this is where you can actually practice connection, but also around topics that interest you, topics that might inspire you. So you can find a group that's interested in almost everything, and you can join a group to not only follow and grow your interest in that topic, but practice connecting with other people, practice being in relationship. And through that, I know that in my own experience, this can help feel just so much better in your day when you can connect with people authentically, when you can just have a couple of moments of deeper connection in a world that tells us to disconnect. It can make such a difference in our day-to-day feelings, because we as humans evolved to be social creatures. We evolved to have these social connections. And in the world today that tells us to go against that, to isolate, to disconnect, to do things on our own, this is literally killing us, as so much of the data says. But it's also stopping us. It's also just adding to just these difficult feelings and the difficulties that we're experiencing day to day. And so much of this work was and my inspiration in talking about this comes from several books. One book is called The Art and Science of Connection, and one book is called Social, by a neuroscientist named Matthew Lieberman. So I'll put those in the description. I highly recommend you go there. Speaking of reading books, these can be 2 books you can read in the new year to grow your knowledge around this topic of social health. But the main thing is, make a commitment to deepening a relationship with one other person, or perhaps maybe commit to being more connected with a few more people in your life, whether that's making phone calls, whether that's texting people more and sharing your real feelings, or maybe joining a group where you can practice these things in real life, in person or online. And everything here can work towards you just feeling a little bit better in your days. So that is number one, committing to having a deeper connection with others. So that is it. That is our 5 things that you can do in 2026 to stop being a passive consumer of division and start being a creator in connection in yourself and with others. And I really do think that this can help us, just as I said so many times, live a little bit better, feel little bit better in our days, and also create a world where we are having a positive impact. So, which of these 5 might you commit to? Do you agree that these things could help you in your new year? If you could pick one, what would they be? And I'm always curious to know. Please write in the comments. I respond to everything. And yes, would there be other things that you would do in your life that would be a little different? Let us know. We'll always respond. And also give us some comments on any topics that you'd like us to discuss in the future. And let us know how this is going in your life, in your days, and what you think here. And again, take a look in the description for more info on how you can connect with us. Take a look at our courses and how you can learn a little bit more about these topics. So thank you so much again if you've gotten to this point, and we will see you in the next one. Have a good 2026 and beyond.